Hey, this is Jeff Easterling. You guys probably know me better as GrimBrother One on halo.bungie.org and the Waypoint Modcast. I'm here on location in Vancouver, Canada to check out Halo 4 Forward Unto Dawn, the new live-action project that's going to be leading up to the launch of Halo 4. It's absolutely amazing, and I've had the wonderful opportunity to talk to some of the cast and crew and ask them some questions that I know were on my mind and hopefully were on yours as well. Hope you enjoy the answers and the interaction. Check it out. Now, as fans, we're all very excited, obviously, to see what stories are going to be told with the new Forward Unto Dawn project. As kind of the overseers of the franchise, what stories are you the most excited, like what new stories are you the most excited about telling in the Halo universe through this new medium? And are there any pieces maybe of some pre-existing fiction that story buffs could read up on and maybe kind of use as a primer to really enhance the experience of watching this film?
I think it's not so much any particular plot point or avenue that I'm interested in. It's more the general concept of letting characters be characters and letting them emote and converse and show emotion in a way that you don't have time to in a game. And even in cinematics, where we typically do that, cinematics by their nature tend to be these sort of transitory pivots for the story, whereas we can make the main course, the actual character interaction in this in a way we really haven't had the opportunity to do in the past. And that's one of the things I'm most excited about. And as to having to read up on or learn about any particular part of the Halo universe before you watch this, it's almost contrary to the whole point of it. We wanted this to be a perfectly easy on-ramp for people who are not familiar with the Halo fiction, just to be able to step on board and immediately understand the characters in the universe and the scenarios that we present, and take the information that you learn from this and apply it to the rest of your Halo experiences and have those be a little bit more meaningful for having done that.
I'm definitely interested in being able to realize a little more of the world kind of around the immediate stories, because the games are obviously very focused on the gameplay and Chief and what he's up to, and you see little snippets of if it's dock workers or scientists or civilians, janitors, space janitors, the Kivas in Reach, for example. I mean, it suggested a lot about the people who live there, and this will be a really great way to actually see those people living. I mean, to actually see what people in the Halo universe were doing, particularly at a moment right before things really kind of got terrible for them when the Covenant shows up. So. So it's a great way to bring the rest of the universe to life.
So we've had the chance to see Halo in live action form before, but never on the scope or scale of Forward Unto Dawn. So you guys overseeing and planning and coming up with this whole project, what was the most exciting part about the project, and also maybe the most challenging or frightening?
You brought up a good point, is that this is an opportunity to expand upon the kind of storytelling we've been able to do in the live action commercials, and that was one of the driving forces. Was those things are great and there's lots of explosions and lots of things going on. It's really condensed and dense with action, but they don't have room to breathe, and they don't really have room for a narrative arc. And so that was the biggest opportunity from my perspective, at least, was to actually just go and tell a pretty rich and in some ways pretty conventional story in the Halo universe and in a live action format, and live and breathe with all that stuff surrounding it.
I think for me the most exciting moment was when we finally got the official go-ahead on the project, because we'd done so much work leading up to it and working with our writers, the Hellbings, and all of our executive producers and visual effects and production services and all of these guys, and we put all this work into it. And it's a lot of time in gaming, you can come up with a great idea and you put a lot of work into it, and not all of them get off the ground. And so once we finally got the go-ahead and we had all these people assembled, a director of photography, all this stuff, like the chance of we're getting so close and maybe we can do this, and then finally got the thumbs up on it was great. And of course that was, like you mentioned, a little bit terrifying also, in the now we have so much more of this to do than we've ever done before. but we've had a great team. I mean, at 343, support from everybody, even the folks who are working on the game and are super slammed with that have been great in giving us lots of resources, and everybody we've been working with here. So it's been a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun, and I can't wait for it to get out in the wild.
Now, more of a general Halo 4 question. You guys play test around the office often. Do you have any office rivalries? Who do you think is the biggest rival?
You were talking about one earlier today.
Some of the internal testing, I always have this rivalry with David Ellis, but it's super one-sided because he doesn't even know which way the controller goes.
Because he's not the guy in front of the camera, but yeah.
David can handily destroy me. I think that my recent rivalry was with Mr. Vociferous, Jeremy Patnod, who I was, for some reason, and this is not typical, I was just destroying at the weekend, and that's not normal, so I'm going to call that my main rivalry, one that I won, because the entire duration of that rivalry was Saturday evening through Saturday night, and then I won, and now I retired.
In Jeremy's defense, we did just make him come up here and oversee night shoots where we didn't let him sleep for a week, so he might have been working at a little bit of a disadvantage going in. Don't want to take anything away from your glorious triumph.
Donging.
Oh, we can't say that.
Just the sound of a bell being rung.
Ding. Okay.
It's been, it's known that this is going to be kind of tying into the newer fiction in Halo 4, and we know that it will be following one of the officers aboard the UNSC Infinity. Why the name Infinity? Halo ships have some really neat names in the fiction. So did you have any neat meaning behind the name? No luxury car tie-ins?
It is the name of the UNSC Infinity is designed just like the ship itself to be a statement about human endeavor. It was a project started actually long before the end of the Covenant War as a last-ditch effort to try and create some kind of warship that could match Covenant forces. It's built out in the Oort cloud, out of ice and rock and metal in the distant periphery of the human solar system, and it was designed as a symbol of strength and menace, actually. And so, of course, by the time it's finished, the UNSC Infinity finds itself launched in a time of peace, which is ultimately going to be an important part of our story. And one of the main reasons why it has this fairly unique name. It wouldn't be a terribly unique name as a shipbuilder, for example, but for people who are used to the slightly more flowery, poetic names that human ships have had in the past and will continue to in the future, the UNSC Infinity was designed to be a blunt, naked, simple statement about human strength and ascendancy.
In terms of storytelling, what advantages do you find you have working with a live-action web series compared to telling stories within a video game or other formats?
I mean, obviously the biggest one is that we've got real people, and try as we might, and the faces and the graphics in the games are getting better and better all the time. But you just get a much different emotional range and a much more kind of empathy with real life humans, and with the story that we're telling and the aim that we're not just telling a Halo story, that it's a great story about some characters that we want you to identify with and be afraid for when they're in trouble, and all those moments in the story is that getting a great cast of young actors and the actors that we've got here for the cadets and for the officers at the school and everybody, they've really brought this story to life in a way that it's hard to do in games, and that we usually spend more of our times in the games kind of concentrating more on the action sequences than the story itself. So that's been a big change, but it's working pretty well.
There's also a real charisma to realizing the stuff from Halo in a physical form, and that goes everything from battle rifles to warthogs to the Chief's armor, of course.
Biofoam canisters.
Seeing it in the flesh and seeing it real is really quite striking. As you guys saw today, just walking around the set, you're seeing things that are artifacts from the Halo universe, and they can be as trivial as a poster on a cafeteria wall to all the way to a compelling and enigmatic space moth. And those props.
I thought we weren't talking about the moth.
Space moth is going to be really important to people.
Stop. Talking.
The universe isn't going to clean itself.
Exactly.
Yeah, but just seeing the Halo stuff,
Hygiene
we were
evolved.
doing some stuff last week on location, and every time the Warthog drove by, people would just stop what they were doing and gaze at it, and you could tell who were Halo players and who were just car fans.
Well, we know that Forward Under Dawn is definitely something that you're hoping will attract a new generation and a new type of fan into the Halo universe, but from some really hardcore decade-long fans of all of the different medium that Halo is, that we really, thank you guys for all the effort that you put into it in every different iteration, and we're really looking forward to this new project just as much as the game. So
Great.
thank you guys for your time.
Thank you guys for coming.
Cool.
Guys.
They're nice.